In this video, we will cover why we need a customer journey. Let's take a look at some reasons why a customer journey map is useful. The first reason is that it helps us to understand the customer experience throughout his journey, not just at the start or at the end, but by breaking it up into a few phases, we are able to create targeted experience for that persona within those phases as well. This also helps us to identify potential opportunities or gaps because we are mapping out what he is feeling at those sections or phases where he is very happy. How can we enhance that happiness? On the flip side, in situations or in phases where he is frustrated or feeling a negative emotion, how can we change the experience so that he feels or that negative experience becomes more bearable or potentially becomes a positive one? In order for us to explain the benefits, let's take a look at a simple journey of Sensible Sam. So Sensible Sam is a polytechnic student in Singapore, and he's trying to take care of his grandmother. Let's journey with him through this experience and understand what are some positive or negative experiences he goes through. So at the start, taking care of his grandmother with his sister, keeping her company, that is actually a positive experience. Thereafter, because Sensible Sam is not able to speak in the grandma's dialect, there is a language barrier resulting in him not being able to share her joy when watching certain entertainment. So as you can tell, moving into the next phase, we can see that the experience has moved from a positive one to a negative one, which is also illustrated by that y-axis. However, he still tries to keep positive by encouraging grandma, who can be negative about her condition. So that is where he is trying his best to encourage. While the experience has improved slightly, it is still on the negative side. At times, due to the language barrier, Sam is not able to communicate with grandma to understand her condition. So where grandma is feeling certain pain or she's not feeling well, Sam is not able to understand where the issue lies. Being overloaded with information and unsure of what to do, Sam actually tries to read up on Google to alleviate grandma's condition. But it is not helping because there's too many things that is on Google. And finally, when he's unable to cope, he tries to carry grandma and risks hurting her. So that is actually the map or journey map of Sensible Sam trying to take care of his grandmother. In a usual journey map, we are actually trying to map out all the positive and the negative phases. The negative ones are generally where there are clear opportunity for change because we can bridge a gap in the experience. But that is not to say that the other phases have no opportunities. The opportunities may present themselves in a different way. Eventually, if we go back to the journey map of Sensible Sam, what we hope to do is, if you remember, the last 3 points were negative in nature. How can we innovate to make things better for Sam? How can we sustain that experience, and how can we create a lasting impact? To give you an example, in this phase, that was where grandma and Sam had a communication barrier, and that is where maybe potentially a translation app could come in useful here. So by introducing a translation capability or app, if we provide it to Sam, that may actually make his experience positive. That brings us to the end of section 2. We will move on to some components of a customer journey in the next section.